Today's episode is brought to you by the Golshani Lee Law Firm. Been in an accident? Need assistance? My first call is the hospital, but my second call is to Golshani Lee because there's no one that I trust more to take care of me and make me whole again. Golshani Lee, the best in the business. Call now. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome in once again to the dungeon of the Doctors of Doom, where I am your host, Alex the Shark Sparks, and joining me this week for not one, not two, but 3 weeks in a row, the trifecta. Oh man, we got a streak going on. Give it up for Chris the Gavel Lee. Chris, say hello to all the Delvers out there, my friend.
Good evening, and what an ad read.
Thank you. Yeah, so for those who've been following the pod, the Ducks lost. The Ducks did not get the job done against the Golden Knights, and so now I will be reading ads for our sponsor, which I probably should have been doing this whole time anyway, at the start of every episode, so I hope you all enjoy it for the next month. Yeah. So Chris, ready to gloat a little bit about your Golden Knights victory?
Yeah, I was loosely following, definitely watched the second period of that last game. And man, the Ducks looked a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. There were some sloppy passes, just some sloppy overall play. Their defense disappeared. So I think maybe they heard that the ad read was on the line, and they realized that it's more important to have ad reads than merchandise swag.
That's true. I mean, they might have been wanting your services, and like, hey, maybe we can get them some pub. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Might have happened.
Yeah, I mean, well, since we'll just go ahead and dive into hockey first. If that's cool with you, Chris. Before we go into anything else, just because we're already talking about it.
Let's go.
But yeah. So we talked about the Golden Knights series. I think last time we recorded the pod, it was all tied up at 2. Looking good for an epic series. Go into Game 5 and goes to overtime. And the Ducks honestly seem like the better team overall, at least better offensive team, I'll say. But their defense absolutely collapsed. Golden Knights got a goal, take the game, and then unfortunately Game 6 was not a game at all. Golden Knights shellacked them. It was not close, so that series came to an end. Avalanche and the Wild, that series also came to end in a 4-1. They've been waiting for a while. Obviously, the Hurricanes we talked about last time been waiting for forever. And then the one series that went the distance, Sabres and Canadiens, that one was epic. I mean, unless you're a Sabres fan, I guess you're upset. But that one went to a Game 7, and of course, in true Game 7 fashion, it went to overtime. And then the heartbreak happened if you're an American, as the Canadiens squeak a goal in. Kind of a fluky goal, to be honest, that got in to get the dub in overtime, moving the Canadiens to the semifinals. So there's now one Canadian team left, 3 American teams, and you've got a couple of mainstays that have been there, and then a newcomer, the Hurricanes, Avalanche. They've kind of been teams that have made the semis, the conference finals, as it were, the last few years. Golden Knights, not so much, and Canadiens, not so much. So some new, some old. Chris, any thoughts now that we've gotten not quite chalk to the finals? There's the Canadiens were a 3 seed, so not full on chalk. Any upsets you feel on the horizon? Your Golden Knights, do you think they can keep going with the momentum they have, or what you got here?
Yeah, it seems like it's barreling towards your original prediction, but I think the Golden Knights will put up a good fight. Maybe they force a Game 7, and who knows what happens in the Game 7.
Yeah, unlike in like football where it's a one and done, anything can happen. In a best of 7 series, generally speaking, the better team wins. However, in hockey, there can always be some of that magic, because sometimes if a player plays lights out, they can make a difference. Like if your goalie plays lights out, like Team USA goalie did in that USA Canada game, it doesn't matter if the other team was the better team overall. You can get the job done. So in hockey, I do think anything can happen, and it's kind of like, the Hurricanes, I think they're the heavy favorites on their side of the bracket, but also, they haven't played hockey in a week. They finished their series with the Flyers. Let me get the exact number on this, because it's pretty substantial, right? So their last game against the Flyers was May 9th. So it's been 10 days since the Hurricanes last played a hockey game. The Canadians obviously played last night, and this game is coming up on the 21st, which means by the time this game is played, it will have been 12 games since the Hurricanes last played in a real hockey game, whereas it will only have been 3 days since the Canadians played one. Now, obviously, there's pros and cons to that, right? So, like, the pros is you get to rest, you get to heal up if you have injuries, and it's not like they're not practicing. They didn't sit at home and eat Cheetos on the couch for 12 days, right? They've been practicing, they've been doing stuff, but it's not the same as playing in a game. Having 12 days off could lead to some lag at the start of the series. Whereas on the other hand, the Canadians might be tired because, like I said, they went 7 games and last night they went to overtime. So, Chris, not basing this based on like skill levels, just based on the scenarios, which scenario do you think is better going into this? The 12 days off or the 3 days off, but more experience, like not experience, but more recent play? Which one do you think gives you an edge, at least in game one? We'll say for game one, who do you think has the edge based on the scenario?
It's a tough call. I'm a lot more familiar with this happening in NFL football than it is in hockey.
Right.
But kind of like you were talking about earlier, a goalie could get hot and, start making, insane saves. Nothing gets past them. And all of a sudden, it doesn't really matter how good your team is. As long as your team, the goalie's team, can put up a couple of points, you're in the fight, right? For hockey, I kind of like the underdog having their backs up against the wall, playing through 7 games, feeling like they might be a team of destiny and sort of going out and playing with that energy. Now, in a best of 7, I like that you said game one because in a best of 7, they're going to get tired at some point, right? Like the Canadians are going to have some sort of depreciation, I guess would be the word. Or
yeah, and it's worth noting, Chris, they're also the only team that went 7 in the first round. So in these playoffs, the Canadians have played 14 games to the Hurricanes 8.
Yeah. So you can definitely probably see the Hurricanes being a little bit sharper as the series goes on, but they're the number 1 seed for a reason. So I think, once they knock the rust off, they'll be pretty sharp. But for game one, I kind of like the Canadians' chances here. If I'm a betting man, I might put a little something on them to see if they can get it done.
You'll get good odds too, because the Canadians being the away team, Hurricanes being the favorite, like you get good odds on that. So yeah, if you're and I don't disagree with Chris necessarily. If you're on that thought process that it's going to take a minute to shake off the rust, like even if they shake off the rust after one period, I mean, if you give one team a 20-minute advantage, that erases a lot of the gap between skill between a 1 seed and a 3 seed, right? So if you're looking to make a bet with a big payday, that might be the one, right? Like you don't have to risk it and go all in to get a cup, but make a decent sized bet on that game. Right now it's Carolina minus 198, right? So that's basically, you have to bet 200 to win 100 if you bet on Carolina. It's a lot better if you bet on the Canadians.
Yeah, I love a bet like this. Like with football, the fact that it's one and done, you like the team with the momentum, right? You like the team that's getting scrappy and starting to eke out wins and ride that momentum. Like you said, would I bet on them to win the entire series? Probably not, but maybe you steal in this game.
All right. And then on the other side, not as big of a gap. Both teams have been waiting. It's kind of funny. All 4 teams have been waiting on the Sabres series, but not as bad. So they last played on the 13th. So 6 days ago for the Avs. Golden Knights, it was 14th. So so only 1 day difference here. So really no difference in rest for these two squads over here. So not like this side of the bracket. But we finally get some hockey, some more puck drop starting tomorrow with the Avalanche Golden Knights series. Any other thoughts on hockey? I don't really have any other great things to talk about other than that. Like I said,
I'm looking forward to watching the semifinals here. I think it's going to be at least the Golden Knights Avalanche. I hope that's a competitive one. We'll see where the Canes Canadians goes, but obviously we want the Hurricanes to win here.
Yeah, I'm definitely for the Canes, obviously, because I want them to do well over the Canadians because they're the American team. And ironically, even though I bet against them in the last series because it was fun, I'm actually rooting for the Golden Knights against the Avalanche. I have no beef for the Golden Knights. I was rooting against them in the Ducks series because of the bet. But I think they're more of a fun story. And I've just never been an Avs guy, so I would love to see Golden Knights Golden Knights Hurricanes play for the Cup. And then at that point, I wouldn't really have a huge preference. I guess I'll root for the Canes because they're in Carolina, and here I am in the South, so closest to them. So I guess that's who I'll be for, and I imagine you're for the Golden Knights from here on out, since that's your squad. So yeah, Chris, I'll let you choose the next topic. Now that we've discussed a little hockey, what do you want to talk about? Any news that broke that you're interested in, or any sport in general you want to hit on?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to where I'm most comfortable with, and let's talk a little bit of men's professional golf.
Little golf, okay, sure. Yeah, we
Yeah.
recently had the championship, right? We had the PGA Championship.
Yes, sir. The PGA Championship at, I believe it's called Aronimink.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to spell that one, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
see.
this one was a really interesting one. You got a lot of people sort of complaining or unsure how they felt about this. I personally loved it. You had an absolute dark horse winning it. His name is Aaron Rye.
I was about to ask you because I've never heard of Aaron Rye.
Yeah, so he so they were saying this course sets up for good drivers and good putters. Okay. He's 161st out of 166 who played in the field in driving, and
Wow.
he's below average in putting. So you could have gotten insane odds on him prior to the tournament starting. But the news that's coming out about him is that he really couldn't be a better guy. Apparently, he just grinds all the time. Like people will see him walking off the practice green at like 9 p.m. and then going to the gym at 9:45 p.m. He also has some interesting comments because he wears two gloves and he keeps iron covers on all of his what do you call it, on all of his irons. And he does that because he comes from like a working class family, and when he was little, he put those iron covers on his irons because he didn't want them to get destroyed, right? And he always took really good care of them. So even though he's a professional now and he gets all that stuff for free, he still likes to, do that kind of thing because he, I guess, doesn't want to forget where he's from. And you just scrolled over earlier, Alex. I think his total PGA earnings is like something like 4 million. He won 3.6 million
Yeah,
for this
I was
tournament
looking at that. I was
alone.
going to comment on that. So yeah, if you look,
Yeah.
he won basically 3.7, right? He won 3.7 million for winning this tournament, and if you look at his overall stats, his total earnings is 4.2 million. Talk about big ups. Because I was looking at that, I'm like, oh, his rank is 15th. That's not that bad. But then when you look at these two numbers, you're like, oh, I don't think his rank was 15th before this tournament. I think it's probably a lot lower on the list.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is with these golfers, they actually pay their own entries and they pay for their caddies, they pay for their food, they pay to stay at tournaments, for lodging. So like if you're making $40,000 at a tournament, you're probably losing money, right? Because you have to pay your coach, you have to pay your caddy, you've got a lot of things to pay for when you're on the tour. So big ups to a guy who only won, I think, $400,000 this year before he won the championship and elevated himself. Another fun fact, you're not going to love this, Alex. First Englishman to win this tournament since Jim Long Barnes did it in 1916 and 1918.
Wow. That is interesting because there have been some good. I guess a lot of the good golfers aren't necessarily like when you say Englishman. Does that encompass the whole of UK or just England?
Just England, because
Okay,
Rory McIlroy has
I was gonna say
won.
because Rory's
Yeah.
like been there for a while. Okay,
Yeah, but he's from North Ireland, right? So when we're talking Englishman, we're talking about
yeah,
someone from England.
yeah. He won 7 times his earnings in this tournament than he had the rest of the year.
Amazing.
Which, and by the way, for those listening, when we say only 500 grand, yeah, to us, dude, sign me up. Give me 500 grand all day, every day. That'd be amazing. But these are professional athletes. They're used to bigger bags, so that's why it was a massive upgrade for Mr. Rye. So congrats to him. Yeah, just it's always fun. Like he got hot at the right time, Chris. If you look at his rankings, so over his last 5 events, missed the cut, 48th, 24th, 5th, and then the dub. So he ramped up to this PGA Championship.
He did. That's called peaking at the right time, my friend.
Absolutely. Because if this were my list, it'd be miscut, 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 miscut. So him going from miscut to making the weekend, doing okay, having a quality finish, winning the whole thing. Big ups. Big ups.
Yeah. And the biggest thing too for me was he won it coming in. So if you look at that back nine, you have the scorecard right up top right there on your screen.
Yeah.
You can see like he wobbled a little bit at the beginning, and a lot of guys were. This was a really, really tough golf course. I mean, he won at 9 under for the whole weekend, meaning, he was averaging a little over 2 under per day. That's a tough golf course, right? Sometimes like these professionals can shoot like 6 or 7 under on a given day.
Yeah,
And
through 8, he was 1 over par.
yeah. And then he just absolutely turned it on, which is kind of crazy because in these majors, you usually see like the Rory McIlroys, the John Rahms, the really big names. They usually rise to the top, and all those guys were floundering, and this guy was he was just tough as nails, man. He was hitting fairways, striping irons, and on 17, he made I think it was a 68-foot putt.
Oh,
So
wow.
everything was going his way.
Yeah, I mean, through the last 10 holes, dude shot 6 under par.
hmm
And for context, his overall finish on the weekend was 9 under par.
And for context, the second place guy shot 6 under par.
Yeah. So, big ups. Congrats to him. All right, Chris, thanks for bringing us the hot golf content. I mean, it would not be covered if not for you on the show, so we do appreciate that, bud. Any other thoughts on the PGA before we move on to something else?
No, no. If we're gonna move on to basketball, I'm cheating because I can see your screen.
Well, I just went to the
I'm
ESPN homepage. ESPN is just there's a game on, but yeah, we can go to basketball if that's what we're gonna do.
gonna pull one out of Mitch's rumor mill, and I don't know if it's a rumor or not. I was gonna mention it last week, but we ran out of time. Some rumblings in the LA Lakers locker room.
Oh,
Apparently they're trying to package Reeves for Giannis, and Luca came out and said absolutely not. He wants Reeves on any team that he's going to have in the future,
wow.
and I think that's caused a couple of ruffles, if you will, because Reeves is sort of the Lakers' best trading card right now, right? But Doncic wants him on the team, and I don't. Now you're starting to see reports of fractures in the locker room, some players not agreeing with Luca. Kind of an interesting thing to monitor.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make the Mavs mistake. Keep Luca happy, right? That's the lesson here. LeBron is not your future. He is on the way out. Giannis, if he comes there, you don't know how long he's going to last. Generally speaking, big men don't last as long, right? That their body doesn't hold up as long as other guys. So I think Luka is set to be your franchise. Let him be your franchise. Speaking of
I
making
tend.
mistakes, oh, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of making mistakes and involving Luka, came out today. The Jason Kidd is no longer the Mavericks head coach. Mavs have moved on.
Ooh.
So you've now lost your great coach, and you've lost your great player, and the Mavs just continue to get worse.
That's tough. What do you think that is? Ownership, front office?
I think it's just they need scapegoats, right? Like things keep getting worse for that franchise ever since the Luka deal, and they need to keep finding scapegoats and keep giving people stuff to talk about that's not, hey, we have no future now.
God, that's toxic. You hate to see that happen to a franchise, a good franchise too.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you think about how beloved Cuban was as their owner, like it's a Game of Thrones arc. Chris, is what it is. This is Game of Thrones. Everybody loves it, and then you shoot yourself in the foot and do a nosedive. That's I'm not saying everyone was a Mavericks fan, but like Mark Cuban was pretty universally loved as an owner for what he did. He kept prices low. He kept concession prices low. He was at the games, on the court, cheering it on. He wasn't involved in all these scandals all these other guys are involved in. He does good things in business. He makes medication cheaper for people. Like, he was considered a pretty good dude, and he was passionate about basketball. You know what I mean? And now it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah, for your sake, as someone who follows the Mavs and roots for them, I hope it doesn't get as bad as Game of Thrones did.
I mean, I think we might already be there, but yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some moves left. By the end of Game of Thrones, there were no moves left.
All right, so let's jump into the playoff bracket here. So another series that went to 7 games, Pistons, Cavs, and the Cavs took it down, so the one-seeded Pistons do fall off. one of the things, I'll say this for Mitch, he wanted to jump on the pod and brag. He was the one that called the Cavs beating the Pistons. That was his take. He talked about how the Knicks might have the easiest road to the finals, and here we are with the Knicks getting to play the 6 seed, the 7 seed, and now the 4 seed. They're not going to play any... They were the 3 seed, and they won't play any seeds that were ranked above them in the entire Eastern Conference, which is a pretty big deal. Also, the Cavs are a team who, just like we talked about, had been to back-to-back 7-game series, whereas the Knicks just won a sweep and had some time off. In fact, let's do this whole thing we looked at before, Chris, with how many days off did you get? So their last game was on the 10th, so they had 9 days off before this game, whereas Pistons-Cavs was last night, 2 days ago? When was that game? 17th. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So basically the Cavs got 1 day off, the Knicks got 9.
What a poor showing by the Pistons in a Game 7.
Yeah, right? Getting blown out
brutal.
by the Cavs.
Yeah.
And that's even though it shows Pistons on top, that's because they're the 1 seed. They were the home team in that game.
Yeah. That's just brutal. You hate to see that. But, good on Mitch for calling that. I hope he put a little money on that. I was going to reverse what we were talking about with the hockey, and it's 10-4 right now, so, who knows because the Knicks are down. But I like in basketball the players getting rest. I think that basketball, it's really, really taxing, and these guys they're huge bodies, and there's a lot of injuries and potential for injuries. I like that the Knicks got that much rest, so it's like a reverse of what we were talking about with the NHL.
It's also worth noting the Knicks did have a starter who was out injured, who missed the last few games of the previous series, so giving him a time to be able to come back. I don't know if he's back yet, but being able to have that time to maybe come back was a pretty big game for them.
Yeah, that's huge.
Whereas I don't know, and it's possible they did have it, but I don't know of any major injuries that the Hurricanes were waiting on for anyone to come back, whereas the Knicks did have a big injury, so getting that opportunity to rest, and like you said, basketball bodies are weird. They're lanky, they're long, they're not like normally built bodies, and knees have issues, That's why even the best players sit out a bunch of games. You don't have that in hockey, and that's not to say hockey's not physical, it's not tough, it is, but let's just be real, those are tougher people, so they can play through the pain a little more than basketball players, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely see hockey players being a little more tough than basketball
a little
players.
bit.
That's just my opinion.
A little bit. So this side of the bracket, Pistons back-to-back 7-game series looked, like I said, I didn't know they were in the play, even in the playoffs. Didn't know they're the 1 seed, and they sure didn't look like one this playoff run. Cleveland got the job done, so now Cleveland's there. We kind of said the Eastern Conference was kind of wide open, is what we talked about on the very first time we talked about basketball playoffs before they started, and then here we are with a 3 and a 4 playing, whereas on the other side it's chalk 1 and 2. So Eastern Conference was wide open. I think the Knicks are the heavy favorite. As we're sitting here, you can see the score increasing. It's now only a 2-point game instead of a 6-point game. But yeah, I think the Knicks, especially when you look at the scores, look at what the Knicks did in Game 4. Most of the time, a lot of time the reason sweeps don't happen is in Game 4, the team with their back against the wall plays for pride and wants to get that one dub to not get swept, and they go all out. Right? Even look at the Thunder-Lakers series, which was much more of a mismatch. The Lakers kept it close, right? But the Knicks blew out the Sixers. Just crushed them. I just think the Knicks are the best team on the East. I thought they were to start with, the best team on paper. I just didn't believe in them. Well, they give me reason to believe over their last 7 games. So let's keep it going, Knicks. Let's see what you can do. On the other side...
They just seem like an offensive juggernaut.
They do. They really do. They don't play great D because you see these high scores. Another team also has high scores, but look at the deciding games in both of their series. They dropped 140 plus in each of their deciding games. So even if it's the other team, you could say, well, the Hawks were going to lose this game anyway because they only scored 89 points. They didn't shoot well. Sure, but the Knicks scored 140. It wasn't like the Hawks just didn't shoot well and they lost 100 to 89. No, they got shellacked. So we'll see what happens. But like them. Then on the other side of the bracket, T-Wolves made it a series early, which I didn't see coming, but then Spurs did finally pull away with 4-2 win. Thunder with a sweep, which was kind of expected. They've been the heavy favorite. However, they lost game one to the Spurs. Wemby and has the Spurs rolling. So, Chris, two questions. One, did you watch any of the Lakers series? I don't know. Are you a Laker fan like the rest of the guys being out there in Southern California?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I watched the Lakers when Kobe was on them, and then once he retired, I sort of stopped.
sure. Do you have a team in the NBA, or are you just not an NBA guy?
I'm not an NBA guy. I'm not gonna
Same.
lie.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a team that I root for, but I'm not an NBA guy. So,
Yeah. But the Thunder Spurs is really interesting. I mean, that's about as good of a matchup as you can get, in my opinion. If the Nuggets were in there, that would have been a really interesting quarterfinals against the Spurs. T-Wolves obviously upset them, but Thunder
T-Wolves
Spurs.
punched above their weight class. I really think so. With both beating the Nuggets and with how well they played the first 4 games of the series.
I agree. It was fun. Like on the off times, I was able to catch them a little bit. It was fun to watch them play. They seem to be playing with a lot of passion. But when we're looking at Thunder Spurs, I think that's pretty much what everyone wants, right? It's like the Thunder who seem to be, almost unbeatable right now, and then you got Wemby on the other side. So I think that's an interesting enough series to watch for even sort of like a casual fan. If I'm scrolling and there's not much on, I might stop and watch this for a little bit because both teams are just really good, and it's good to watch like fun, good basketball from time to time.
Yeah, and you're talking about two 60-plus win teams in the regular season, which is like they were by far the two best teams. Whereas on the other side of the bracket, you're talking about two 50-win teams. Not
Yeah.
that's bad. I mean, it's still very good. They're a 3 and a seed, 4 seed, but like these guys were on another level. So you've got two juggernauts going at it over here. You've got two, I don't want to say underdogs, but two people that you didn't necessarily think were going to be there fighting over here. So no matter what the outcome is, you're going to have a bit of a David versus Goliath scenario. Not exactly that. I mean, if you have Spurs Knicks, I don't think anyone's going to call it that, but like there's a world where it's Thunder Cavs and it's a David versus Goliath scenario for sure. So anyway, now that I strongly think the Knicks are going to win their series, let's go to the other side with Thunder Spurs. Thunder were probably the favorites coming in. I mean, they're still projected to win the next game by 6.5, the odds, but they did lose game one. So do you give the Spurs a chance to take this home, or do you think the Thunder are going to be too powerful?
I think the Thunder are going to win. I think Thunder are going to be too powerful in this one. I think
Okay.
they're making it to the finals.
Sure. And I did see one funny thing with the Cavs winning that game that someone said like and Amazon Prime has been eliminated from the playoffs because now all the games will actually be on TV networks, which I know a lot of people are kind of ticked when the games are on Prime. I know I'm not a big fan of that. Not that I dislike Prime, I do like Prime, and I have no problem with like the NFL being on Prime. The problem with like basketball playoffs is like a lot of times you want to switch between games at the commercials, and it's really hard to switch between games when you have to switch between apps. When you're like, oh, I gotta go back to cable or go back to Peacock to watch this game, but now I gotta switch over to Prime to watch this game. So it is nice that Prime has been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, I've got opinions about streaming
Ooh.
services.
Oh, let me hear it, Chris. Lay it on. I'm out of basketball talk, so go for the streaming opinion.
I mean, it's exactly what you said, right? Like, and it's the same thing with like Uber and stuff like that. But like when these companies came along, they're like, oh, we're gonna be different, right? We're gonna offer, these streaming services. You're not gonna get commercials, and then all of a sudden, you're paying for a subscription model and a commercial comes up, right? And you're like, I'm paying for no commercials. Well, you look into it and they're like, oh, well, now it's tiered and you have to pay more money for no commercials, right? And you're like, okay, sure, I guess. And then all of a sudden, everyone branches off of these streaming services, and now you've got games on Prime, you've got games on Peacock, you've got games on, NBC. Well, no, that is Peacock. You've got games on Paramount Plus, and then you also have regular cable, which has been replaced by YouTube TV. It's like they took this service and they're saying like the internet's going to revolutionize it and we're going to make it so much easier for you because everybody hates cable companies and everyone hates dealing with cable companies. And I'm like, at this point, I kind of miss cable companies, right? Like like you said, like the fact that you can't just flip through the different channels and find the different games is absurd. And then you've also got like all these different teams like with the MLB, and now they're striking different deals with different companies and different networks, and so you can't even watch like Padres baseball unless you have the MLB package, which I think you have to get through DirecTV, which is some ungodly amount per month. Or if you're like me and you have YouTube TV and every other streaming service, you still can't get Padres baseball unless you have the Padres network. So I don't know. I'm over it. I'm done with all of this stuff. Put it back on cable. Put it back on one screen. I'm trying not to illegally stream things because it's bad for the computer. Trying not to get viruses and trying also not to get hacked. And what you have to basically do now is exactly what you're talking about, Alex. Like you have to literally have a phone playing one game if it's offered on a streaming service that is not YouTube TV or your cable company or DirecTV. You have to have another game, potentially going on your TV, and then Lord willing, you want to watch a third game and it's on a different streaming service, you have to watch it somewhere else.
Yeah, so a couple of comments on what you said. Two things. One, you mentioned ads. There are some services, even when you pay for no ads and you're at the top tier, you still get an ad for their own programming. So like it's not in the middle of your shows, thankfully, but like on Apple TV and Paramount Plus, for example, even if you pay for no ads, at the start of an episode, they may show you an ad for another one of their shows, right? So it's not like a true commercial. Like I'm not watching like a Scrub Daddy commercial or like, hey, Verizon.net here, can you hear me now? Like I don't saying that, but I still have to see a commercial for a show when I'm paying you for no commercials. Little tilting. Also, you mentioned you kind of wish it's just cable because everything's like, hey, we're gonna do different now. It's gonna cost more. Listen to this. So I'm one of those people that pays way too much for streaming services. I have most of them, and I pay for no ads on all of them. I've canceled them in the past, and they had come out with bundles to draw me back in. So I'm gonna give you the actual prices that I'm paying right now for ad free on all these services. Okay, Chris? So I have
Right.
Apple and Peacock combined, $21 a month. And I'm rounding on all these, by the way, to make the math easy. Netflix, $19.50 a month. Disney, Hulu, and HBO combined, $33 a month. Paramount Plus, $13 a month. Amazon Prime, this one's hard to calculate because I also get the benefits of Prime, but it comes out to roughly $15 a month. Okay? Now, the reason I'm giving you all that information is the grand total of all that is $102.50 that I'm paying monthly for all these streaming services. I also happen to have DirecTV Stream Cable because I have that for some sports packages and things that I had in the past. I know what my bill was for that. Do you want to know what I pay for cable, Chris? It's $102.99.
Oh my gosh.
It is the exact same price to have either all these streaming services or cable. Now, I know what you're saying, Alex, you're a fool, you pay for too much. I do. I canceled a lot of these in the past, but then I have to renew them for things. Like I'll cancel Peacock, and then the Olympics come out, so I'll renew it. I'll cancel HBO, and then they'll come out with a new season of like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I have to renew it. So I don't pay for them every month, but what I'm saying is, if you look at all of them, and you pay for all of them, which some people do because they want to have access to all the content, it costs you the exact same amount that you paid for cable in the first place without the convenience of being able to switch between channels.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Alex. And I'm the type of guy, not just with sports, but if I want to watch a show and I find out it's on some specific streaming service, I'll buy that streaming service, I'll watch the show, and then I'm just too lazy to cancel it,
Yep,
right?
that'll get you.
So,
I
yeah.
had canceled Peacock. I renewed it for the Olympics because I needed to have it for the Olympics. It's May. The Winter Olympics ended in February. Still have Peacock.
Yeah, and then every once in a while there'll be something on it, right?
Yeah, no, like that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're smart about it and toggle it on and off each month you need it, it might work out. But that's so much extra work. It's so tedious. And then you go to cancel, like, hey, we'll give you a month free if you don't cancel. So you don't cancel. And then
No, they draw you in
yeah,
because I was about to cancel my Paramount Plus because I haven't been using it at all. I downloaded it to I think watch a show called The Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, which great show by the way if you haven't seen it.
hmm,
And then I was thinking about canceling it, and the other night it was like UFC, and guess what? I got to stream UFC like an actual like legit UFC card that involved
the
like
Ronda Rousey fight.
no Sean Strickland versus
Okay.
Kamaev, and then the undercard was the flyweight championship as well. And I'm like, now I'm like thinking to myself, like, do I become a UFC guy now? Am I gonna watch it on Paramount? Just enough so I don't cancel.
Yeah. Yeah, and let me ask you. This may backfire, but just out of curiosity, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Subway, the fast food restaurant?
Jared.
Okay, sure, but what else do you think besides what was Jared involved in? Not his. What was he involved in with Subway? Let me rephrase before you
I
cancel.
was about to say, are we going
What
that
was he
way?
involved in with Subway?
Commercials.
Right, and so I guess this didn't work out. But like the main thing you remember, right, is $5 footlong, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when they pitched that so hard that now when you think Subway, you still think $5 footlong. A Subway sandwich costs $15.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. It's
They try to trick you.
Yeah, it's just as
They
expensive as a Jersey Mike's or a Firehouse, which is better ingredients and like actually cooked on the grill. But it costs the same amount.
the best they can do now is a 6-inch sub for $5, but it has to be the specific sub that they're advertising
The
on
sub
that
of the day,
specific
yeah.
day.
And,
Yeah.
but you when you think of Subway though, your first thought is $5 footlong and cheap because of that ad campaign that put their competitors out of business, and that's what streaming services did. That's the whole roundabout of this point that I'm trying to make is streaming service made it seem like, hey, this is cheap content, cut the cord, you can watch all the shows you want anytime, not pay for these services, and now Netflix has live events, Paramount Plus has live events, Peacock has live events, and the price has gone up. You're no longer cutting the cord. You're just paying for cable in a different way. And you know why you are? Because Peacock is NBC, Paramount Plus is CBS, Hulu is Fox. You're still paying for it. You just don't realize it.
You make a great point. Like streaming services doing live events, like that's just a roundabout way of saying cable.
It's cable. It's 100% just more complicated cable. We took cable and added 7 steps, kept the price the same, and we just didn't figure it out.
Oh man, we got to write some letters here.
All right, that's a great rant to end on. I will give one piece of NFL news real fast. Rashee Rice taking himself to jail. He violated probation like a fool, and he's now going to miss. So for those of you fantasy owners in Dynasty League that have Rashee Rice and traded for him, thinking it'd be a great trade, maybe someone named Alex who coaches the Sharks, didn't work out because he's going to jail. Only 30 days. He'll be out. He'll still be on the team, but missed a lot of time last season with injury and suspension. Now spending time in jail, going to miss OTAs and minicamp. Not ideal.
At this point, he might be doing this stuff just to troll fantasy owners.
I mean, at this point, he may not be on the team because we've seen the Chiefs do. Kareem Hunt got kicked off the team for way less.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, Kareem Hunt was a stud. Like, I'm not talking about 30-something-year-old Kareem Hunt now that can barely tote the rock. I'm talking about in his prime Kareem Hunt. Anyway, I wanted to at least get that point out there. Any final thoughts, Chris, before we wrap this up?
No. I think that's it from me. That's all the news that I could think of today.
Appreciate you being here, Chris. It's always nice to have you on the pod. Hit up Golshani Lee for all your law needs. They are the best in the business. Hit up them boys. They'll take good care of you. And thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for enjoying it. I hope you guys enjoyed our rant. With that note, we will see you next time. I'd say play me out, but accidentally closed that browser, so no bumper music this time. Peace.